What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to a brand new deck profile. Doing a bit of a string of deck profiles lately, as I tend to do, because I've got a ton of decks at my disposal at the moment. But DDD being one of my favorite, one of the next decks I plan to do a guide on, like we've done with Mermail and Photon in the past, trying to make that a part of our new 2019 schedule, starting to work in like guide videos for certain decks. But wanted to revisit DDD. Because I've been wanting to sort of dive back into it for a long time. I had it sort of figured out to sort of play basically as your standard, just turbo out your standard negations with like Crystal Wing Siegfried number 38. Those basic standard plays that we know DDD can make. But as you can tell probably by the extra deck, it's a little bit different now. I've modded the extra deck just a little bit. This is sort of like the last turning point for this deck, in my opinion, before we get Gilgamesh and before we get Needle Fiber, because those two cards will completely change the way that I play this deck. I had a chance on stream to play it, sort of like they can play it in the OCG at the moment, and playing with Borreload Savage Dragon and Cyber's Quantum Dragon. It's just going to be so much fun when those cards are available to us. But I wanted to get a TCG legal build out in the meantime, and sort of change it up just a little bit, and it still has all the bells and whistle plays that the build did in the past, and with a slight few variations. But before we get started, though, quick shout out to our sponsor, Premium Duelist. You guys know, if you ever wanted to pick up a nice cloth playmat like this one that you see here, this beautiful tour guide playmat with Beat Cop on the other side. It's King's Robe material that is printed on, and King's Robe is a perfect name for it because it is so soft and so nice to touch. It has this cool effect on it where you can like rub it certain ways and it leaves like different patterns and things. It's very, very nice. But we also have these sleeves here, these heart sleeves in red this time around. I have them on white on my Mermail deck, and they're just some fantastic sleeves. Shuffle very, very smooth. They make the red looks very nice on DDD, and I've got these black Sandstorm sleeves here on the extra deck. As you can see, a nice subtle effect there. If you wanted to pick up any of the stuff on their website for a bit of a discount, you can do so with a code down in the description, Winter Kills 10 off. But without further ado, we'll go ahead and get started. The main deck, which is basically going to start with triple DDD Savant Kepler. Basically, still a staple at this point, a huge starter for most of your plays. Still continues to be. DD Lamia, still a 3-up for me at this point. I can't remember if the last build I was playing 2 or not, but if I was, I wanted to bump it up to 3 because I wanted to do a little bit more synchroing in this deck, have a little bit more options. And again, this is one of those reasons why Needle Fiber is going to be so huge with this deck, and when we get Gilgamesh and all those things, like, it's just going to be so nice to play the deck that way. 3 Swirl Slime next, 3 Copernicus, standard DDD lineup, 3 DDD Oblivion King Ibis Ragnarok, and then we have 2 Necro Slime, and still playing the 2 DD Vice Typhon. I actually don't know if this was in the last build. The last build was quite a while ago, which is why I wanted to do an update. But Vice Typhon allows you to fusion summon for the new Genghis, High Flame King Genghis, a lot easier. Just helps you extend plays a lot because I'm only playing like one Genghis, one regular Genghis, one Diarch, and to have the ability to use this as sort of like an alternate Necro Slime is nice. So you don't always have to rely on having Necro Slime in grave, which is great because a lot of the times the graveyard fusion summons help to extend combos a lot more than in hand, allowing for perhaps multiple graveyard fusions if your graveyard is really loaded, with like multiple, maybe a Slime and a Vice Typhon. Honorable mention though, I wanted to play DD Ghost in here, but I actually didn't have any. I wanted to start experimenting by playing DD Ghost. I definitely will be playing DD Ghost, the level 2 tuner, when that comes out, mainly because that card is nice because it can recycle things that get banished back to your graveyard to use again for more fusion fodder and things like that. It's a tuner, all these things. Very, very nice to have in the deck. And I believe last time I was playing like 3 Ghost Ogre, which I have since cut the hand traps from since it's a going first deck. You guys know I don't like hand traps in my decks. That's just a preference for me. I'm not saying that's sort of like the truth, the way to go. I just prefer to not play hand traps in the main deck as much as possible if I don't need to, and that's just sort of how I'm sticking with it. Moving forward, the last 3 monsters in the main deck, and this is basically what the Ghost Ogres, I believe it was, or the Effect Failures got cut for, is I'm playing a small Pendulum Engine consisting of the Supreme King Gate 0 and the 2 Dragon King Dark Worms, just because I'm playing the Electromite in the extra deck, and there's some really easy Trish plays that are involved with just, you know, Dark Worm or Dragon Shrine or Foolish Burial with Lamia and Copernicus and all this stuff. Super easy Trish plays to be made, which is nice because of going first. I've had plays where you're often able to Trish and still end on Crystal Wing Siegfried on top of that. Just a lot of great plays to be had, and just a slightly different axis of play than we had access to in the prior builds that I was playing. So there's that. That's it for the monsters. Now we'll go into the spells, consisting of 3 Dark Contract of the Swamp. Of course, got to play it at 3 still. Still continues to be a centerpiece of the deck. 3 Called By, still same old, same old. 3 Allure of Darkness, and 2 Pot of Desires this time around. I actually cut this because I needed a Desires for another deck, so I took it out of this one, but ever since I've done that, I haven't mined the double Desires as opposed to the 3. It really hasn't made that big of a difference in consistency, and it just frees up a little extra space for some other things. Then next we have 2 copies of Dragon Shrine, of course, for the Dark Worm target. You know, send it, special summon it, search your Dark Worm 0, or not your Dark Worm 0, your Supreme King 0. All of these things that we know about the engine already. So 2 Dragon Shrine. Then we have Foolish Burial, Soul Charge, Monster Reborn, 1-for-1, and lastly the Dark Contract with the Swamp King, because I think playing this always as a 1-of is a nice opportunity, just for other, you know, secondary plays to go about with the deck. So that's it for the main deck. 40 cards, pretty straightforward. Now we will go into the extra deck, starting with the synchros. So to start, we have 1 Dawn Dragster, FA Dawn Dragster. Of course, the spell and trap negation is pretty nice. A decent going first option. Against some decks, you could end with this and maybe like a Siegfried, so you have double spell trap negation for the turn going ahead. But other reasons I like this, because sometimes your hand or field isn't so great to the point where you can end with like whatever it may be. It's just like a you know, Crystal Wing Siegfried. You might not always be able to end. You might only be able to end with Siegfried, and then you're able to get back like Genghis or whatever, and you can still make a level 7. But in the past, these were the only 2 other level 7s I was playing, so I could, you know, go into one of them, but like in a going first situation, they don't really have much to offer in terms of, you know, going first and, you know, providing, you know, obstacles for my opponent to deal with. But Dawn Dragster certainly does. You know, the spell negation and trap negation is pretty nice, so that's why I decided to want to play it. And then we still have our standard Odd Eyes and DD Gus King Alexander for the plays that they offer. Move these over a little bit here for a little more room. 1 Cursed King Siegfried, still playing the Siegfried, of course. 1 Crystal Wing, and lastly, but not least, the Trishula Dragon of the Ice Barrier. I'm planning to play this card in like every deck that I have now. I don't know why. Just going in for a Trish is just satisfying. I don't know why. It's just fun. And when we get the, you know, Borreload Savage Dragon and Cyber's Quantum Dragon, the extra deck is going to change a lot more. Because you can end on, instead of doing Crystal Wing Siegfried, you can end on Crystal Wing and Savage Dragon. Or Savage Dragon and Dawn Dragster, like all these things. It just changes up so much once you get all those other cards. But again, I wanted to get a TCG legal build out to you guys before we got into any of the craziest stuff, which we will later on. Now we'll go into the links. Still 1 Link Karibo, so important here. Same thing with Wee Witch. They're basic links, but they are important for allowing the deck just to play through its normal plays. 1 Heavy Medical is Electromite, just because, you know, this being able to dump Copernicus to your extra deck to set up a easy Pendulum summon with. This to get something to the graveyard as an extender. Use as synchro material, use as, you know, whatever. Very helpful. Then we have the Summon Sorceress, which is in a different sleeve. It's in the nice Shattered Foil sleeves here, because this was in a different deck. I actually just picked up another one. That'll be here soon. Then we have the Decode Talker. So, extra deck for links, not too complicated. The Electromite adds just a little bit of variety to certain plays that can be made. I did want to, going back to the synchros, I did want to try playing like Shooting Riser Dragon and Formula, but I think those would be better to play once we get Needle Fiber, because of the tag out ability that Needle Fiber has and the plays that can be made there and that. But I just wanted to sort of dive into way more synchros, but I kind of got to hold off a little bit with this deck for the time being because Needle Fiber helps out so darn much for that whole type of play style. And then last but not least, of course, we have the fusion. So we have one Genghis, one Diarch, because like I tried to get away without playing this, but you just need it, because when you usually make this first most of the time, and then you can make this afterwards with your Necro Slime play. But a lot of times I found like if I didn't have, you know, the level 5 or higher engrave, or if I didn't have Vice Typhon, I had to just sort of be like, oh, I can't do another fusion play because I can't go into these and I don't have this in extra deck. Or if I was playing 2 Genghis and 2 of these, I didn't want to go into another one because that just seemed like kind of like a waste. So still playing the Diarch, and then we have 2 copies of High King Genghis. I also, honorable mention, was thinking about playing the High Gust Alexander as a level 10 synchro in here as well, but again, I think I might hold off on that until we get more synchro options with Needle Fiber and better link plays with like Gilgamesh and things like that, because I'm starting to like Gilgamesh a little bit more as time goes on. I started off hating that card, but just sort of using it as a good link to facilitate a lot of plays is one of the main reasons I like it. It's just a link to DDD that can be summoned very easily. It's a fiend, so it allows for easy summon sorcerer's plays, I suppose, which is nice. And I'm not playing Reprodocus in here with the summon sorcerers, mainly because like this card can just be made very easy without Reprodocus, because a lot of your monsters are fiends. And then there's also the fact that like if you don't open Lamia and you still can fusion and things like that, and you still have a couple other plays with Swirl, summon sorcerers can help like fix your hands and still help you get on a decent board of negations and things like that. But yeah, that's it for the profile. Just a slight variation of changes from the last one, and wanted to go ahead and just give you guys an update to show you where I'm at with it. Don't forget to check out Imperium Duelist. Don't forget to hit me up on the social medias here. Join Discord, follow me on Twitch, Facebook, and Twitter if you'd like for additional updates and things of that nature. Highly recommend you join the Discord though, because notifying when I go streaming or when I'm streaming, when videos go up, things of that nature. Different content posts and things like that. If you want to join, feel free to. But yeah, that's going to do it for this video. Hope you guys enjoy. As always, Winner Kill sign out. We'll see you in the next one.